Once upon a time, in a bustling city where skyscrapers stretched towards the heavens and neon lights painted the night sky, there lived a young woman named Ella. Ella was a representation of the modern generation, a generation that seemed to prioritize material wealth and financial status over the simpler virtues of kindness, empathy, and love. Ella, a beautiful and ambitious woman in her mid-20s, had grown up in a world where social media flaunted the glitz and glamour of luxury lifestyles. From the flashy sports cars to the designer wardrobes, her Instagram feed was a constant reminder that she deserved nothing less. Her friends, too, had succumbed to this culture of instant gratification, chasing after the next big thing, often at the expense of meaningful connections. One sunny morning, Ella was sipping her artisanal coffee at a chic downtown cafe when she overheard her friends talking about their latest crushes. They weren't talking about the kindness or the sweet gestures of these guys. Instead, the conversation revolved around the size of their bank accounts and the square footage of their penthouse apartments. Ella couldn't help but feel a sense of unease as she listened to her friends gush about these men. She thought back to her own experiences, the nice guys she had brushed aside because they didn't own a sports car or wear the latest designer labels. These were guys who held doors open, listened when she talked, and genuinely cared about her well-being. But in a world where flashy displays of wealth dominated, they were deemed unworthy. As weeks turned into months, Ella couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that something was amiss. She began to reflect on her choices and those of her friends. She realized that this obsession with wealth and material possessions had seeped into their generation, poisoning the very essence of genuine relationships. Ella decided to break free from this vicious cycle. She started spending time with the nice guys she had overlooked before, and she soon discovered the warmth, depth, and sincerity that they brought into her life. She learned that the true measure of a person's worth lay not in their bank balance, but in their character, their values, and their capacity for love. Over time, Ella and her friends began to see the emptiness of their materialistic pursuits. They understood that love couldn't be bought or traded like a commodity. They realized that a meaningful relationship was built on trust, shared values, and emotional connection, not on the size of one's wallet. In the end, Ella's journey towards a more meaningful and authentic life inspired her friends to do the same. They began to appreciate the nice guys who had always been there, patiently waiting for their chance to prove their worth. As this shift in perspective took hold, they saw how the shallow pursuit of materialism had eroded the foundations of love and happiness. The lesson they learned was clear. Prioritizing money and material possessions over the goodness of one's heart would lead to a future generation where true love and authentic relationships became scarce. In a world where superficiality ruled, they knew that meaningful connections would be sacrificed, leaving behind a legacy of loneliness and unhappiness. And so, Ella and her friends pledged to be the change they wanted to see in the world, to value kindness and compassion over wealth and extravagance. They believed that by doing so, they could steer their generation away from the precipice of a future built on shallow foundations, and instead, create a world where love and genuine connections would thrive once more. In Ella's journey, we find a crucial moral lesson that resonates with women of today's generation. It serves as a reminder that we must resist the allure of materialism and instead value qualities like kindness, empathy, and genuine human connections. In a world that often glorifies wealth and superficiality, Ella's story underscores the importance of looking beyond the surface and recognizing the true worth of individuals. It encourages women to break free from the confines of societal expectations and choose partners based on the content of their character rather than the contents of their bank accounts. By doing so, they can pave the way for a future generation that values love, compassion, and meaningful relationships, ensuring that happiness is not compromised by shallow pursuits. Ella's tale reminds us that in a world driven by appearances, it is the substance of our choices that truly matters.